What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Guapo. You already know I'm here talking about, what's going on and understanding the Mandela. First of all, shit, what is it? The Mandela right now it started from when people originally thought that Nelson Mandela died in prison, but later found out that he died as the South African president. So that's where it originally came from. It was just a mismemory, and a lot of people are just confused by it generally, including me, because I was one of those people who was taught that he died in prison. He didn't get out, and so it was a big shocker to me. We have the theories, and from what I could tell, there are numerous theories on this subject. We got the first theory would be CERN and the black hole involvement in corrupting our space-time. So if you don't know, CERN is a big hadron collider, and its main goal is to basically prove, and it's really to understand our fundamental reality as we know it. That's what the collider is for. And theoretically, it if done properly, and if they figure out what they want to figure out, they could technically figure out how to control time or have a grasp and understanding of time and space that has never been known to people. You have another theory that's multiple dimensions colliding as a result of CERN or other parties. So again, we have another theory where that CERN created some kind of portal that brought some kind of alternate dimension here, and it's crashing into us like on some, whoever watch, is it DC or Marvel? It's a Marvel thing when it's called I forgot the name they use in Marvel, but it's basically the same concept where two realities were coming together, and in Marvel, one of them had to be destroyed for the other one to live. But in our reality, what they're trying to say is that I guess they came together, and now we're in another reality. We have like shifted or something. And another theory would be we are living in a simulation. This one could make sense. I'm not gonna talk about that one too much. That one is, to me, that one is a big one because that can mean a lot of different things. Like that really encapsulates a lot of things. So that's why I'm not going to talk too much about that one. And then the fourth one is digital corruption and manipulation, meaning as of right now, a lot of our, mostly everything is online. So your name, your information, everything's online. So a lot of these kids and stuff don't know this, but before everything is online, our grandparents and our parents should tell us, hey, watch what you do and put it online because they can use it against you and stuff like that. So it still to this day is a very, very real concern. But the biggest thing is if someone wanted to for real and had a big enough computer and processing speed and things, they could technically rewrite a lot of history through corruption and through just knowing technology. And if you know technology and the human brain enough, you could technically manipulate the minds of people using technology. And so those are the theories. So I'm going to discuss these theories a little bit in detail. First of all, CERN is number one on everyone's list as the culprit as far as these things go, like all these mismemories and stuff. There are many different conspiracies surrounding the facility and the research being performed, Like example, they have a big Shiva statue in the front of their facility that no one seems to understand why they have doing what they're doing. CERN has been operational since 2010 and has been used to understand the fundamentals of physics and quantum mechanics. So that's just a fancy way of saying they want to understand reality and how the world works. You know, they give these fancy names and stuff, but they just want to understand how the world works like the rest of us. But they make it like seem like it's a hard thing when they put these names on it. Uh, Quantum mechanics and physics, and it's just like, you know, at the end of it, they trying to figure out everything we trying to figure out. So, but like I said, if they do figure this out, what they've been trying to, they're gonna have an understanding of space and time on another level that's gonna be beyond anything we've ever seen. So, like I said, it's possible that CERN could be the one doing it. Um, and so theoretically, if this machine works properly, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, which is who funded the project, a lot of people don't know that, will have control over time and space never seen before. But yeah, man, it's just this topic is something I want to talk about for a long time. I just never got around to it and stuff because a lot of things come up. But now I just it kind of had to. It's just so much going on, and I will be continually talking about different subjects and things. So y'all continually watch me and stuff and check out the channel. But on conspiracies, really there's a whole bunch of conspiracies. But I'm going to talk about some key conspiracies. Um, there's a conspiracy that there's a whole other world of people like who believe multiple dimensions and somehow we're crashing into another dimension or a plane. Talked about that, and like I said, that's been talked about from a lot of different sources. Like I said, Marvel was one of them, and it was, you know, who else touched on this as well is if you watch anything about the supercomputers, D-Waves computers, then you would know a little bit about how these computers are different in nature than any other computer because what they do when you ask it a question is basically instead of asking itself, you know, and getting it from its like memory bank, it is creating a world, and in that world, it is creating a scenario in which the question that you asked it is being ran over and over. You know, so it's basically creating its own reality, and that's what we need to figure out. Like I said, what's going on. We need to understand these technologies, not just them and stuff, so we can understand what's going on. Because as of right now, we have no idea. And the evidence for this theory is lacking as far as the dimensional plane situation, the different dimensions. However, there is nothing to be ruled out from the public discussion because, like a lot of you know, nothing has been reported on this as far as in the media mainstream. It's like they leave us these stories to pick up on our own, and then when it gets enough traction on its own, then they'll pick it up. But that's another reason I'm doing this video, because it's like I've been waiting on them to talk about this for a long time. No one's talking about it, so yeah. And so it seems they show us in movies first and then tell us later, like we should have known what was to come. Subliminal messages is another thing. It's just been bad, you know, so yeah, it's a bad situation. All I can say for sure is there is more to this story than we are hearing, because like I said, it's just getting crazy. No one's talking about it. I only see it on TikTok and little social media sites, but like I said, no media outlets cover what CERN is really doing, what's going on. Why is America and all these other countries funding it? They keep us in the dark on it. It's a lot of weird stuff. Yeah, move on. I'm gonna talk about continue on to conspiracies. Um, this theory that seems to make the most sense out of all the stories to me is the narrative that someone or a group of people have gained access to a way to digitally alter all books, videos, and pictures online or otherwise. How they did that, again, I have no idea. It sounds far fetched, but not as far fetched as something spinning around particles at light speed, crashing together, and then creating a different dimension. Because that's what they're doing. If you want to believe the dimension theory, but to me it seems more plausible that they're changing things digitally, and yeah. And also, what makes this theory so interesting is the ties to the book 1984 by George Orwell, and the possible link to the Ministry of Truth, which for us would be the NSA. They have the power to do everything that the Ministry of Truth did in that book, and that's what I want people to understand. Uh, the Ministry of Truth it was supposed to be helping. It was supposed to be like a propaganda thing for in the book for the group that was using it. I forgot the name of it. I think it was Europa, and they would basically tell the citizens what they thought they needed to hear in news stories and in news or media. If something didn't add up to their agenda, they would remove it, or they would change it. And yeah, so it just makes sense. They had to, because they said they had to, because the people were getting too on edge, because they were always at wars, and the country wasn't being um, it wasn't being trusted. So without trust, they had to create their trust by basically creating false information, and so you had to believe the false information given. So again, this is why again I'm talking about it, because I can't have that, going down in my generation, and I ain't talking about it, because then your kids get kids, and then it's a big mess from there. So I talk about it now. The thing that caught my attention most is the changes made to the Bible. I know a lot of you are like, oh, Mandela effect because of Shazam and Darth Vader and Curious George and da 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 da. For me, it is the Bible, and I'm gonna tell you why. They have plenty of examples. These are just a little bit, but they have plenty more examples you can go find on your own. I encourage you to go look it up. But I'm gonna just read a couple of them. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt above the paps with a golden girdle. It used to say golden sash across his chest. Now it says with a golden girdle, meaning a golden bra. And so once you understand those little slight changes, then you start recognizing something else. And ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, stand thou here, or sit here under my footstool. But it used to say, and ye have respect to him that weareth the fine raiment. But now it says gay clothing. I'm not understanding. That doesn't make sense. And Moses brought Aaron's sons and put coats upon them, and girded them with girdles, and put bonnets upon them, as the Lord commanded Moses. Now, for anyone who knows what a girdle and a bonnet is, you should be a little bit shocked by what I just read. If not, then, again, it really ain't for you, man. For those who have the ear to hear and to listen, then it's for them. But if you ain't listening, then I can't even force you. But I will say this. This is the last one I'm going to read. There's plenty of more. I might show you a little bit more because I have them saved. But this is the one that really shocked me is because I used to look at this quote so much because I used to try to figure out what it exactly meant because I knew it meant more than what it was saying. But let me go. It says the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. What does that mean? Well, right there, that means something completely different. See, with the word placement and the way you say words, it makes the difference. And I'm going to show you why. Because the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. So our brains can put together things that we don't necessarily know. So when we say dwell, we may think live, and and our brains put that together. But the original text is the lion shall lay down with the lamb. Not the leopard shall lie down with the kid. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but I know for a fact it said the wolf shall lay down with the lamb. It should not dwell with the lamb, because dwell is living in the same quarters. Lie down with the lamb is something completely different. You get what I'm saying now? They're changing keywords around to change the whole topic and the whole meaning of a passage. And I'm only 26. I'm not that old. And to me, this is, if you an older person and you ain't even peeped none of this, then again, you get on it, because this is what's coming, and they're gonna try to teach your kid this stuff growing up, and eventually, we're gonna have to step up, because listen to what it's saying. They're gonna basically say that this is always allowed in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna open the book up and say it was always there, and we just never seen it. No one ever read it properly, and that's not the case. So I just want to put it on camera and just make sure that people understand that. Other examples of the Mandela would be the Shazam movie, 1994, that Sinbad said wasn't even real. He said that never existed, and then he came back and said he actually did do it. He actually came back and recanted his story. But then, Sinbad, how the fuck did the movie disappear? So that's the question, the $1 million question that everybody want to figure out what's going on. The other one I have for you is a YouTube clip, and it's not going to be that long. It's like a couple minutes. Let's see if it pull it up. This is about Dr. Day in the X-Men's, the X-File show. And yeah, man, it's a very, very, very interesting take on the Mandela effect.
Dr. They, I presume?
Kids today don't even know what this means. Why should they? I mean, when's the last time someone admitted doing something they were ashamed of? Even if caught on tape for doing it, they just say, well, that was taken out of context.
Yes, but why are you shaming me?
Someone who spent his life seeking the truth behind every great conspiracy, and you're only now finding out about me?
Perhaps it just goes to show how good you are at hiding in the shadows.
Who's hiding? I'm in the phone book. But nobody knows what's a phone book anymore.
I have to admit, what little I know of you, I got from a rather dubious online video.
Oh, did you like that? I made it. It's my new platform, Phony Fake News. It's a presentation of real facts, but in a way that assures no one will believe any of it.
To what end?
The bitter end. Which is why, when I became aware that you were finally aware of me, I felt the professional courtesy to meet with you and to tell you this in person. You're dead. I came out wrong. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I meant your time, Agent Mulder. Your time is past.
Okay, so what is or what was my time?
Well, it's a time when people of power thought that they could keep their secrets secret and were willing to do anything to keep it that way. Those days are past, gone. We're now living in a post-cover-up, post-conspiracy age. And I no doubt the kids will come up with some catchphrase for it. Poco, something they'll say like, oh, that's so poco. That'll make you wish
But you
you
see how they making fun of it.
As long as the truth gets out.
They don't care whether the truth gets out because the public no longer knows what's meant by the truth.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, no one can tell the difference anymore between what's real and what's fake.
There's still an objective truth, an objective reality.
So what? I mean, you take this Mandela effect. Well, in the old days, I would never have come out and admitted to you that, yes, I can change people's collective memories. And that would have meant that I can control the past. And if that's true, well, as Orson Welles once said, he who controls the past controls the future.
It was George Orwell that said that.
For now, maybe. Anyway, the point is, I can tell you all of this right out in the open because
You heard that? He said Orson Welles, and then he corrected him and said George Orwell. You get what I'm saying? As far as, and if you know the human mind, you know, you can control a lot. Just like he said, he who controls the past controls the future. If you can manipulate someone's thoughts about the past, you can manipulate their thoughts about the future. And so, this is what I'm trying to tell y'all is, this is really happening. It's not really a joke. That's kind of, whatever. But it's like, this is serious. In the moment that you just pay attention to it, and you can kind of put an end to this old weird type of stuff, that be going on.
Nobody knows for sure.
And then the first example came from the X-Files episode known as The Lost Art of Forehead Sweat. And in that episode, the character Mulder is confronted with a man known as Dr. They, and Mulder is then told that Dr. They has been behind the Mandela effect and can control people's collective memories. And he's told that they have been behind the Mandela effect for the simple reason of bringing the end sooner and having everyone confused in the process. He said, to what end? And Dr. Day said, the bitter end. This is what I want people to understand. CERN is already capable. If that machine is turned and weaponized, if someone was to turn to the dark side, let's say, on some sci-fi shit, because it's all sci-fi anyway, you could theoretically destroy the world because the technology you're using is you're basically trying to recreate the very beginnings of when the Earth or when the universe started. So with that technology, you can destroy everything here. And so that's what I'm saying is this is all a weird situation, but I'm just letting everyone know this is real. And then the other example is the Shazam movie featuring Sinbad. The movie was made in 1994 and followed another movie by a similar name, Kazam, in 1996 and played by Shaq. But just like in that clip where he said Orson Welles instead of George Orwell, he used this similarity between the name to confuse you because your brain puts together words using the beginning of the first letter and the end of the letter. So in the middle is just really your brain is going to put it together whether that piece is there anyway. Whether or not it's jumbled up, mixed up, any of that. If the first and the last letter is the same, your brain will put it together like that makes sense. That's how it does. And so, like I said, with that being said, they did the same thing because with Shazam, And Kazam, they're trying to take the just be that knowledge that the mind does that, and they're saying that Shazam never existed, but they're saying Kazam did when they both did. But they're trying to say Shazam and Kazam, or Shazam didn't, because it sounds so similar to Kazam, and it was released around the same time, that your brain will automatically make the response that maybe you did make that up, and maybe you did just da 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 da. But that's, again, another form of manipulation, tricknology, whatever you have. But yeah, the other example is the Shazam movie featuring Sinbad. The movie was made in 1994 and followed another movie by a similar name, Kazam, in 1996, played by Shaq. Both were popular movies, but for some reason it looks as if someone or a group of people use this to their advantage and is experimenting with the capabilities of the human memory bank and the willingness to stand up to false memories. And that brings me to syntax. This is a long video, I'm sorry, but syntax is the rule that governs language, and it is concerned with the various parts of speech and the way that the words are used together. So your brain already thinks in syntax. That's why it puts together those words. Even if the middle is jumbled up, it can put it together because of your brain thinks in syntax. It'll put it together for you. And the truth is, to me, it looks like someone or some persons are using the similar aspects of things against us, whether it be how something sounds or how something looks. It seems that whatever they can use, they will. Just being honest. But syntax comes into play when you learn that you think in syntax. And for the most part, a lot of languages are written in syntax so that they flow to the brain and make sense of its surroundings. So your brain talks to itself all the time and explains your surroundings all the time, and you just may not be aware of it. But it thinks in syntax, and it says, hey, the windows are open, the sun's outside, and it's explaining your surroundings all the time, even if you don't know. If someone or something had a high understanding of syntax and how the world and the brain works, it could change how we perceive the world, which is scary. Oops. Can I go back?
What was he referring to?
Does it matter?
But in conclusion, the information gathered in my research shows there's plenty of evidence to at least bring up an open dialogue on media or news. But again, they leave it up to the people to figure it out as they give us the answers later, and then they give it to us how they want to answer. So but yeah, that was the conclusion. So again, do your own research, look up whatever you got to look up and stuff like that, because this is a very interesting topic. And again, it's Guapo. Y'all like and subscribe and comment whatever y'all want me to look up next and stuff like that, and I got y'all. But yeah, peace out, man.